So today we have three speakers that are engineers, and they're all going to kind of talk to you about uh, their pathway into engineering careers and careers in industry. So it's a little different than what you're used to hearing, which is a lot of science research. So first we have Gillian Castro, and we have Christine Garcia and Lauren Cuevas.
Hello all, my name is Gillian Castro, and I will be discussing how I ended up in chemical engineering. So a little about me. I grew up in Hermitage, Tennessee. The reason why it's called Hermitage is because it is the home to the Hermitage, which is President Andrew Jackson's home. However, it's really, really close to Nashville, so when I meet people, I just go, I'm from Nashville. So this is me whenever I was about third grade, second grade. It is around this time in my life that my parents thought it would be a really good idea to take me out of school and to homeschool. At the time, we were a little frustrated with the system at the time, so we were only going to do it for a year and then head back into the system, but it worked out really well, and I ended up homeschooling until I went to college. So homeschooling, my parents had science degrees. They got their master's in chemistry. And so from a very young age, they had me do a lot of science and STEM related projects for fun. Here, I'm kind of like sort of coding with like Legos and all that. And then, however, I also liked art, and I like doing a lot of other things as well. I mean, I love science, but I enjoy doing art. Here you can see that I am drawing out lines for a calligraphy class that I begged my mom to sign me up for. And I really enjoy it. I even later got one of my friends, and we recrystallized bismuth. And I just really enjoy art and science and whatever feels like mesh the two together. However, I also enjoy sport. At a very young age, whenever I when I left school and joined doing all the homeschooling stuff, a friend of mine from school wanted to continue with me and be close friends and keep up and be good friends and all that. Well, he did a sport called kendo, which is a Japanese martial art that originates from the samurai. So I fight with swords, and it's a lot of fun. And I did it for years. I started when I was about nine years old. And in this picture here, I am testing for the rank of what is the equivalent of a brown belt. But what I don't know at this time is that I'm about to fail this test. And this test, me failing it, crushed my soul. I lost confidence in myself. It was really bad. I did not want to practice anymore. I kind of continued for a year, but then I just was like, I want to quit. Well, one of the senseis, the teachers, sat me down and was like, and showed that he had faith in my skill and ability, and showed that he thought I had what it took to continue on in kendo. And it was this like show of like that he really, really thought I could do it, that brought my confidence up, and I continued on. And it was right then and there that I decided I wanted kendo because I wanted to do it, not because my friend asked me to join, and I thought it was fun. So I started taking it very seriously. I later, around when I was 16, I started competing I got onto the Southeast national team. So I represented the Southeast on the girls' youth team. And we ended up actually getting first in the US for girls. And it was a lot of hard work. But it was these skills and ideas that really helped me in my STEM career, because I knew that if I put in the time, I put in the effort, I could achieve what I wanted to eventually. Well, now like back to science, basically. I started doing some more kind of like classroom stuff, but still homeschooled, and in middle school. And I started competing in science fairs with and through middle school, and then I even did it with my family. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it as a familial event. But now I'm in high school, and stuff is starting to get serious. I started competing in Science Olympiad, which is a school activity that is you can go into like nationals, and it can get really serious. But it's also a lot of fun. Here I am competing in forensics and just really enjoying it. But we're still homeschooled. So whenever we did all our sciences, we were trying to make it very serious because like our parents and family members had serious degrees in science. So here we were like doing some serious biology. We were working on onion cells and trying to see like mitosis and all those fun little like biology stuff. But we can't get all our chemicals because we have to order them ourselves and get them shipped to our houses. So it's really kind of hard to get some of these like kind of like more serious stuff. So we would get things like a toilet bowl cleaner and run experiments with that and to prove scientific concepts. And so it's about a few years of this, and I hit about my junior year, and I was looking on Facebook of all places and noticed an internship opportunity at MIT. So I applied and I wrote a paper, and they said that I passed the paper part, but now I had to do an interview, and I was really nervous. So what I did was I went and looked at the labs that were offered, and I read all of their papers. I looked at everything that they had, read all their papers. And that actually really helped me in my interview, because whenever they asked for any questions, I actually had questions prepared that were based on their research, and they really enjoyed it. Well, when I started my internship, I met my mentor, and it was so much fun. Best 8 weeks I've ever had. And I also met a lot of good friends. It was an amazing opportunity. I got to work on 2 projects. I got to work on glowing plants and making them basically glow in the dark. And then the second project was I grew plants in basically a solution of really tiny tubes. And I got to check their distribution and like where they ended up in the plant as the plant grew in these like tiny tubes and all that. And it was so much fun. But now my internship has ended and I need to go to college. But now I found a love, and I found a good program for chemical engineering. And so I worked my butt off, basically. I worked so hard and test after test, and I got into a really, really good engineering program at University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And I'm currently now that I'm in the program, I get to work, I'm working in a lab. Working at MIT really showed that I really wanted to go and pursue my PhD in chemical engineering and later on run a lab for myself. So I had to start somewhere. So I got into a lab that I really, really enjoyed, which at UT, and we work with bacteria, and we take bacteria and we alter them to get what we want, basically. So we basically alter bacteria to get chemicals that are very useful. But I guess the main thing I want to depart with everyone is that this is your playground. You don't have to be limited by what other people tell you or what you think you're able to. If you love it and you dedicate the time to it, you can achieve what you want and go anywhere you want. Is basically what I wish to impart with you. And I believe that is the end of my presentation, and I will go to the next speaker.
Okay, so hey everybody, that's me. I'm Christine Garcia. So as you guys know, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my journey into how I became the electrical engineer I am today. So a little bit about my childhood. I was born and raised in East Tennessee. So where you see that orange star right there, that's a small town called Lenoir City, Tennessee. And then that gray star right there is where I ended up going to college, which is, like Gillian, the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. A little bit about me and my background. My two parents are first generation immigrants to the US. My mom is from Panama and my dad is from Mexico. And that's just really special to me because I really embrace my culture and where I come from. I love talking about my culture. And then I'm the second youngest of four kids. I have two older sisters and a younger brother that you guys see on the screen in the picture on the right. And this was a special picture and a special moment in my life because my oldest sister got her master's degree in electrical engineering. And that's just another fun fact about me. All three of the girls in this picture, all of my sisters were all electrical engineers. So that's just really cool that all three of us decided to all major in the same degree. So next, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my motivators and what motivated me to excel academically. And that's, of course, my two older sisters. They set the bar really high for me academically and doing community outreach and engaging in sports. We all play soccer as well. And then also my younger brother and my mom. So my younger brother, what motivates me about him is just the fact that I want to be that bar that my sisters set for me. I want to set that bar for my younger brother. He's actually a sophomore in high school right now. And then my mom is the one who motivated all of us to achieve academic excellence, you could say, throughout grade school. So like if we were ever to have a B on a test or something, she'd be like, why didn't you guys get that A? What's going on here? And then my dad is sort of the exact opposite. He would remind us and motivate us to have that healthy work-life balance. Which was really great because he helped us find something that we love, which was soccer. And he pushed us to go ahead and play soccer and have that healthy lifestyle. And the last one, which is a fun fact about me, is that my first job was actually working at a McDonald's when I was a sophomore in high school. And that was a really fun time in my life, but I realized that that's not where I want to end up as a profession when I'm an adult. So that just motivated me to find a degree that I was really passionate about, to be able to do something that I enjoy doing every single day and do that for the rest of my life. So what sparked my interest in electrical engineering, you might ask? So in the summer of my going into my 8th grade year, I did a pre-college program at the University of Tennessee. And in that program, I was able to stay on the campus for a week and do different engineering exploratory activities and be around students that looked like me and were from very similar backgrounds as myself, and do these activities. And they were all interested in what I was interested in. So that was really motivating and encouraging. And then I also had these counselors and professors that also looked like me. And I was like, okay, well, if they can do it, then there's no problem. Like, I'm definitely going to be able to do this, because that was something that I was always worried about, is like, will I be able to actually go to college? And so I did these programs every single summer leading up to the summer before I went to college, just different variations of that program. And going into my junior year, I did this program that was specifically for electrical engineering, talking about power systems. And I realized, like, electrical engineering is what I really want to do. And with these programs, I was able to actually make a strong foundation with professors that would see me going to these programs every summer. So they actually were genuinely interested in helping me achieve my academic goals, which was really nice. And that's just something that I would encourage about these programs. And then talking about my university journey, I actually went to the University of Tennessee, believe it or not, and I was able to play some soccer, intramural soccer, throughout my collegiate years, as to maintain that healthy work-life balance, you could say. And then in that top middle picture that you guys see, that was me being so happy that I actually became a counselor to one of the programs that I went when I was in middle school and high school. I became one of the counselors. So it was really like a roles reverse situation. I was just really excited about it. And then in that top right picture, that's just I love that picture, because that was one of the first circuits that I built by myself in one of my electrical circuit classes. And it just really like reinsured like my choice in becoming an electrical engineer. Like I just realized like, yes, this is what I wanted to do. Like I've picked it, I found the perfect thing for me. And then I wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit about my college support system. So I had two main groups that like really helped me just keep my sanity in college and like, you know, make sure that like I felt like I was where I belonged. And that was the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, which is a student organization that had a lot of people from the same background as me, and they helped me achieve my academic goals as well as my professional goals and leadership goals by going to different conferences and actually being able to attain internships in college throughout my junior and senior year. And then in the top right picture, that's all of my electrical engineering classmates. We all had study groups, and that helped me achieve my academic goals. And then we also took some time to go to like escape rooms and things like that, just to have that healthy lifestyle. And then I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my undergraduate research that I did. So going into my freshman year, I was able to attain an undergraduate research assistant position for CURRENT, which stands for the Center for Ultra-Wide Area Resilient Electric Energy and Transmission Networks. That's why we just call it CURRENT, because it's pretty long. But a fun fact about that, my two older sisters actually also did research with CURRENT, so that's just pretty neat. And then in this video that you guys see right here, CURRENT really does a lot of like outreach at elementary schools, and that's something that I'm really passionate about. So we were able to show them simple circuits and try to spark their interest in engineering. And then a really fun opportunity that I got to do with my research is go to China and do research at a university over there for 2 months, going into my junior year of college. And it was just a really great opportunity going over there and embracing the Chinese culture and meeting all the fellow grad students that sometimes come over to my university for school years. And then a little bit about my industry background, guys, is that going into my junior year, I became a US Cellular Mobile Core engineering intern. So I got to learn a lot about how cell phones work and a little bit about like 5G network. We went out and did some testing, which was really cool. A really great experience of mine. And now I currently work at Bechtel, which is a construction company. So I actually graduated in August last year, and I got this job in Bechtel. And 3 weeks after I graduated, I went to start working. So now I live in outside of DC in Reston, Virginia. And I work for Bechtel, which is a really fun, different type of electrical engineering discipline that from what I did in college, which is really neat that I get to explore. And with Bechtel, they actually sent me to Utah for a month, and I literally just got back last week. But it's just really cool seeing my coworkers from Utah and going to the project site that I'm actually helping construct from the ground up, partnered with the Air Force, which is pretty neat. But I just wanted to leave you guys with a little bit of final advice. You guys always need to be asking questions. I think that sometimes we're hesitant, but I see in the chat we're not hesitant today. But if there's ever any questions, feel free to ask, because there's always like one or two more people that have that same exact question. So don't feel discouraged, and maybe you don't understand a concept in some of your classes in school. Like always ask those questions, and then also be proactive in reaching out to people, and be proactive in terms of finding these summer camps or these programs that they might just be a day long, they might be a week, they might be the whole summer, but it will help you figure out what you want to do in college or what you want to do with your future. So those are my two pieces of advice, but if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the breakout sessions. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Christine. Hi, everyone. I am Lauren Cuevas Melendez, and today I'll be walking you through my journey to/through STEM. I was born and raised in the beautiful island of Puerto Rico in the Caribbean. So I'm from Bayamón, Puerto Rico. I currently live in New York City, but I also went to the University of Tennessee, where I got my chemical engineering degree. And I currently work for a company called Accenture as a management consultant. And just a little bit of a fun fact, with the last year, everyone being indoors, I have really tried to push myself to step outside and be outdoors. So in the last 6 months, I've had a chance to go both to Yellowstone and the Rocky Mountains. So that's something I really enjoyed, just stepping outside, getting some fresh air and not being in front of my computer all day. In terms of how my journey through STEM started, like I mentioned, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and my parents were both math majors in college. They got their undergrad in math and then went on to follow a little bit more of a traditional path in terms of my mom went on to be a doctor, my dad went on to be a lawyer. So it was a very linear, like straight line to where their goals were. And even though I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be when I grew up, I knew one thing for sure, and it was that I did not want to be a doctor or a lawyer. So that really pushed me to always be looking out for what do you want to do when you grow up. I think my STEM journey really started and cemented itself in high school. I went to a boarding school that was focused in math and science. And the cool thing about the school, I did mention it was a boarding school. It was actually 3 hours away from my hometown. Puerto Rico is a very small island, but getting from point A to point B can be a long drive. So you can imagine my parents weren't super excited to hear that I wanted to go to boarding school for math and science. And that was really where I had to start pushing for my interests and try kind of make my case as to why I wanted to go to the school and why it would be good for me academically and for my future. So it took a lot of convincing, but I got there. So I did go to the boarding school for STEM, really opened my eyes to a world of possibilities. I did skip senior year. So I graduated out of 11th grade. And instead of having a senior year and a 12th year, I went straight into undergrad as an industrial biotechnology major. Now, you'll see that I am referencing the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers again. And it's because I was a part of that organization since I was in high school. And like Christine, they helped me develop academically and professionally, in particular, helping me find internships and co-ops, which is really how my journey through STEM progressed throughout the years, throughout these different internships and co-ops. And if you know, internships are usually during the summer, and if you're working for a company, they are paid internships, and co-ops are typically a semester long. So it's a semester that you are taking limited coursework from college and you are working full time for that company. So I did do a couple of those, and my first experience was for Neutrogena, Johnson & Johnson out in California and Los Angeles, where I did an entire semester as an engineer. So I was at a plant and I was literally working with face soap and how fast the machines were going and making it more efficient and tracking the products and everything that was being made in that plant. So that was really my first experience with engineering. But I did mention I was a science background or a science major. I was an industrial biotechnology major, so not an engineering major yet, but that was my first taste. That same summer, I went to do a plastics research, biopolymer research internship at Procter & Gamble, where I was in a research lab and I was working with the polymers that are used to make the fabric or the material that diapers are made out of. So it was a really cool experience. I got to be in the lab. I thought that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. I thought I wanted to be in a lab. I thought I wanted to be a scientist and spend time in the lab. And because I got these two experiences, very different, one was in a plant, the other one was in the lab, I started realizing that I liked the plant aspect and the business aspect of things a little bit more than I did being in the lab and doing research. So really knowing that the lab wasn't the place for me, even though I thought it was, that was my dream job, I had to open myself up to other opportunities and just start learning what other things I could leverage what I wanted my engineering degree to be used for. So I went back to Johnson & Johnson for another semester. So an entire semester I wasn't a full-time student, and I did a supply chain co-op, which is a business co-op. And instead of focusing on the manufacturing aspect, I was focusing on the aspect of delivering the product to the client, so to the stores. And when I say delivering, I literally mean, where are these trucks with the cases of Listerine in our system? Did they get there on time? And all of the analytics behind the final part of how a product gets to you and to your house and the store you bought it from. So same company, but a completely different experience. I wasn't at a plant. I was getting a taste for what the business side of the house would be like. And that was really eye-opening, and almost also shows you that you, within the same company, you can do a lot of different things. Keeping in mind that now the lab was no longer the place I wanted to spend the rest of my life, I did a technology internship for the company I work now, called Accenture. And you may be familiar with the Magic Bands at Walt Disney World. Accenture is the company that built the technology behind the Magic Bands. So we run the Magic Bands. I did a technology internship in Boston. So I spent a summer there. I was doing an implementation for electronic medical records. So it was a software internship where I was going to hospitals and I was interviewing doctors and understanding how their day went about. And in my internship, I was translating that to how do we make the technology that they're using, so the software they're using, match to the experience they live in real life. So the first part of the first few internships and co-ops I did were very different. I tried a little bit of everything until I decided and started shaping and moving towards what I wanted to do long term. After that first round of co-ops, I got a chance to change my degrees and actually change universities. So I transferred to the University of Tennessee, where I finished my chemical engineering degree. And again, I continued to be a part of SHIP. I think SHIP was really important for my development and just that networking aspect and getting to know people that would support my journey, but also for the part where they prepared me for all these interviews and how do I network with these companies and how do I get these interviews and pass these interviews and get all these offers so that I can live all over the United States and try different things and different internships. After I transferred to the University of Tennessee, I had one last summer to go before graduation. So I worked for Mondelez. Mondelez owns Nabisco, so you may know them as your Oreos and Chips Ahoys of the world. And I spent a summer at a distribution center. There was at a distribution center. At this time, I wasn't sitting behind a computer seeing where all the trucks were. I was actually seeing the trucks being loaded up from a warehouse. And in my role was actually tracking all of that, seeing where all these trucks were they making their deliveries on time. I was part of a project that had geofencing, so GPS tracking those trucks and making sure that they're delivering at the scheduled time they told Target and Walmart and all these other places that they'd be showing up. So it was a really cool. I started liking more than anything the technology part and the software part of things. And when I went back to school, I spent my semester working at the IT office. And I was a student assistant there. I was working mostly with Microsoft Office. And I got to learn all of these tools, but I also got to teach them. And really teaching them, being so deep dive with what we think are seemingly simple tools, opened my eyes to the fact that I really enjoyed working with technology, working with supply chain, working with consumer goods companies. So I was trying to find a way to merge all of it. Ultimately, I finished my degree, I graduated, and I accepted a full-time offer with Accenture. which is the company I had interned for, the company that makes the magic bands. And I moved to New York City. Nowadays, I have the opportunity to merge my passion for consumer goods, so products, the J&Js, the P&Gs of the world, supply chain in terms of logistics. That's my specialization at my company. So all of the clients that I work with, they are clients that are producing a product, that are delivering products to a client. And because my company is a technology company, all of the projects I'm involved with have to do with technology directly or indirectly. And I'm sharing a few examples of projects that we have shared publicly on our website of what client work looks like. These aren't projects that I was a part of, but these look very similar to the projects I have been a part of. You know, all these companies, and we're working with AI and virtual reality and automation and making things more efficient. And really finding that kind of way to use my engineering degree and merge the three things that I found out that I like has been an incredible journey through STEM.